Imagine spending $20,000 a month on ad and watching your ROI literally go from 5x to 1.2x in a matter of 4 months and feeling completely lost and overwhelmed about what to do next. That's exactly where one of our clients, an executive coaching business, found themselves in Q4 2024. And after we work together, what happened isn't just a success story, it's a masterclass on how to diagnose and fix a failing ad strategy. Because I know that there's so many business owners listening to this podcast consistently that have found themselves in a situation where they didn't know how to turn things around when the ads stopped performing, or they didn't even realize how bad things were. And so by the end of this episode, my goal is for you to see exactly how we help these clients save about $15,000 in wasted ad spend per month and actually get back to the 5x ROI within 30 days of us coming in the business. So if it's the first time you come across my content, my name is Jolie Dematio, and for the past 4 years, I've really been behind the scenes working on a daily basis as a paid ad strategist, help my client grow in income and impact. So we've worked with different businesses, coaches, consultants, e-com, real estate, but we've really honed in and specialized our skills around scaling personality brand and high ticket businesses. And so let's just dive into what happened, because the reason why I've created this podcast is because I want to make this information accessible to the business owner that's out there that's really, rolling up the sleeve, trying to grow the business, have achieved a certain level of success, but they feel like they've hit plateau and they are not sure what to do next to take things to the next level, but they are committed to having a business that actually provides amazing value to the communities of their client, and they just need guidance on how to do better. And so without any further ado, let's just dive into it. So the first thing that we looked at coming in the business, and that really, was very apparent to me when this client came to us, was that they were experiencing what I call the scale trap. And what some of the criteria of what I call the scale trap can be seen in the numbers, right? So when we looked, because we actually did a deep dive into the numbers, going all the way back to 2023, and so we look at the whole year of 2023 and also the whole year of 2024, because again we started working together at the end of 2024. And so in Q1 of 2024, they were spending about $8,000 per month with a healthy ROI of 4.83x, right? Which were pretty sane numbers, right? But then something interesting happened. As they tried to scale, their spend increased to 20K per month by Q4 of 2024, but the ROI had decreased to 1.226x ROI. And so here's what most market and business owners miss. It's not just about spending more money. And I know we are here in the scaling season, and when I talk about scale, I always want to come from the angle that you want to scale, yes, but when you're in a season where it's appropriate to scale, and you need to have some foundation set before you actually move into the scaling season. And if you try to rush the process, what's going to happen is that you're going to find yourself in a scaling trap where even though you're spending more money, guess what? You're not getting better results on the back end. And you might be confused as to why that's the case. And I'm going to share with you exactly why you might find yourself in that spot in the first place and what to do to avoid that. And so for them, they literally went from spending 8,000 to 20,000, but the ROI went from 4.8x to 1.2x. And so the number of the lead quality as well had decreased, right? The lead quality had really taken a nosedive, and they were struggling to close deals. In Q1, they were converting about 7 point. So the conversion rate on the sales page was about 7.3%, but by Q4 it has dropped to 4.2%. So almost a 60% decrease. And this is where most ad agency, most marketing agency that you hire will just and they were working with the marketing agency, by the way, but this whole time they were working with the marketing agency. And again, here we're looking at the numbers across Facebook, YouTube, and Google. So when a client comes to us, we don't just run ads on Facebook, we run ads on all platforms where it makes sense for them to be present, especially depending on how much they can spend. So this client specifically was spending 20,000 across those different platforms. And so when faced with these challenges, what most ad agency will do or what most marketing agency will do is that they will just tweak the targeting, they will test new audience pocket, they will just try to refresh the creative. But our analysis actually showcase something much more deeper. And we actually uncovered three key issues that were bleeding the ad budget dry. The first one was really what we call a campaign drift, whereby the best performing campaign, what we really call like the money maker, basically, had seen an incredibly has seen a drop, right? An incredible drop from 52.4x in January to 7.1 in October, right? So which is huge. They were still spending money on it, but it just they lost the magic that made it work in the first place. And they were so used to the campaign performing that they didn't really go back to actually see how the performance had been as time go by. And I see that is something that's actually very common when I actually audit ad account, is that I will find that business owner marketer are just running the same campaign for month on end, even though it has lost steam. And when I will ask them, okay, why don't you turn this off? What's happening? That they were like, oh, it performed really well in the past, and we're not really sure why it stopped performing. So we are hoping something is we're hoping it's going to magically just come back to life. And that was the case with this client. So you had amazing ROI in January, but they didn't know what happened to go from 52x to 7.1x, and they had just settled for that performance. The second critical issue that we uncovered was that they were running what I call zombie campaign. Now, zombie campaign are when you're running campaign where ads are essentially dead, but are still consuming budget. So this was primarily with the YouTube display ads that had literally zero ROI across multiple months. And they were still spending about $2,000 to $3,000 per month only on this YouTube display ad, even though these were not driving any type of ROI whatsoever. And where it gets really interesting is that in one of the account there was a funnel, right? There was a VSL funnel that was converting extremely well. It actually generated about 28x ROI in September, and that's literally made them about almost 9,500 from spending $73 in ad spend, which was insane, right? So this campaign was performing really, or this funnel was performing really, really well, but it was not being fed enough budget because they were spreading themselves too wide, and they were not really optimizing what worked. So so I did notice this winner. And so what did we do? So again, there were so many things that we uncovered, but these are the three main things, three critical issue. The first thing that I advise that we do is implementing a back to basic approach. Now, typically whenever we find a client that's inside what I call the scaling trap, we always like to go back to the foundation. And by back to basic, I mean we immediately stopped all of the bleeding campaign, right? Because they were not driving any revenue whatsoever. They were actually making the company lose about $8,000 per month for no reason whatsoever. So we immediately post all of those ones that had an ROI below 1.5x. Now, the reason why we stopped those is because looking at this business offer and the history, we were confident that 1.5x ROI was really the threshold below which any campaign was actually underperforming, because we could do so much better. So we turned all of them off, saving the business about $8,000 per month in ad spend. Now, the second thing that we also did is that we allocated the ad budget. So we allocated some of that ad budget to Google Ads, because that was really where we had one campaign performing really well, the one that has gone from 52,000 from 52x to 7x. We then reallocated as well some of the budget to YouTube, optimizing the video funnel, and the rest of the budget went to Facebook specifically for lead generation and retargeting, as well as optimizing the funnel the VSL funnel that had generated 122x in September. Now, the breakdown in terms of ad spend across this platform, we had about 50% of the budget going on, 40% of the budget going on Google. We had 35 going on YouTube, and the rest really was spent on Facebook. Now, Third thing that we did was is implementing a systematic testing framework where there were no more guessing games. Every new campaign had to prove itself before getting more budget, and like no emotional thing that okay we think this might work. No, we're really hyper focused on okay what's driving the growth, what's making sense for the business. We also, as a third step, we look at the funnel, we look at the top performing funnel, and we look at the lowest performing funnel, and we uncover that some of the funnel had steps that were not required at all. Like they had, for instance, a webinar funnel, and like people would sign up for the funnel, and there were like confirmation pages that were not necessary at all, that would delay the process for the client to actually see the free training. And by the time they will see the free training and even the sales page, the drop off was actually insane. So we made the sales process, we tightened up the sales process, and we make it more shorter and more just more like make more user friendly, basically the whole sales process. So those were the four things that we did. And where things really got exciting is within 30 days of implementing these changes, right? So this also included when it comes to launching these new campaign. We, for instance, when it comes to launching new campaign on Google, we dug into the data and really discovered that they were letting automated bidding run wild without proper conversion value rules. And so by implementing a strict CPA strategies, focusing only on high intent keyword, it allowed us to really bring the ROI back to 24x within 2 weeks of launching the campaign, right? And also really diving deep into the keyword and understanding how to just have the right balance between the broad match keyword and the exact match keyword to really have the right mix in there for the search term. On the YouTube side, for instance, what we uncovered is that their organic content was performing really, really well. But what they had done wrong is that they had boosted, right? Instead of running YouTube display ad the way in which it should be, they had just done a boost of their videos, and that had actually led them to have a decrease of engagement in their YouTube performance as a whole. So again, here we really focus on optimizing the YouTube content to drive better results for this client specifically. But the real game changer was on Facebook, because on Facebook there was a video sales funnel that was not really optimized whatsoever. So the funnel was barely, optimized, but it was still generating about anywhere from 12 to 10x ROI, and the biggest month was in September with 128x ROI. And so we broke down why it was working. We had the perfect qualification process. It had a clear call to action, strong social proof element. And so what we created, what I call a content multiplication system that really allow us to, because this business coach was already creating a lot of content. So we chopped her video into 60-second clip and created lookalike audiences based on people that had engaged the most. So, and also created a targeting sequence based on watch time and her buyer with the highest lifetime value. So having these lookalike audiences and this retargeting sequence really allow us to increase the conversion on Facebook as well. So those were the three things that we core things that we did across those three platforms, and the results were absolutely insane. Within 30 days of coming in, right? So this is where we started working together in November, and by early December, the single funnel generated a 5x ROI. Like across the board, right? So we had different campaigns. Some of the campaign had an 8x ROI. Some of them had, a 4x, 5x ROI. But across the board, we had about a 5x ROI at a $5,000 monthly spend, right? So we literally went from, 1.2 to 5x within 30 days, which is absolutely insane. And what I want you to really understand from this is that this technical optimization only worked because we fixed fundamental issue first. And by fundamental issue, I really call testing weekly testing cycle instead of monthly cycle, for instance, and really looking at the numbers twice a week. What I see happens that sometimes business owner or marketer will just launch a campaign and it will just sit there for months, or it will sit there for weeks and won't be optimized, or what have you. You need to keep an eye on your campaign performance and really always be one step ahead of the time and think, if it stopped working, what am I doing next? How am I mitigating with the risk? Because one thing that shows that one thing that's constant is one thing that's constant in the marketing world is changed and you don't want to stay too comfortable with your campaign. So that's the first thing, really implementing a weekly testing cycle instead of a monthly cycle. Also having clear stop loss parameter on every campaign. So no matter how well a campaign is performing, what's the threshold below which if it's stopped or if it hits that point, we stop the campaign, we shut it off, we launch new creative, we do something. Having those defined is very important for you to have kind of a North Star and a guiding line as you are scaling your ad or as you're spending on ads. Also, strict budget allocation based on ROI threshold. You don't want to be emotional when it comes to what you spend on. It has to come from logic. It has to come from number, from math. That's why data is your friend and you want to use data for profit. Otherwise, you're going to have a hard time really growing your company. And I really advise you, if you haven't already, to go back and listen to how to make million with paid ads in an episode which I did probably like 1 week ago, where I really dive into the 5 questions that you need to ask yourself to really turn ads into a powerhouse and well producer for your company and yourself. And the fourth guiding light is really having regular creative refreshes based on engagement data. Again, you don't want to stay too comfortable, because if you do, guess what, your campaign are going to die and you're going to lose steam, which is what happened to this company. So now, this is really what I want you to like. This is the biggest lesson from here, because I want you to understand that scaling your ad isn't just about spending more money, right? Scaling is about finding what works, doubling down on it, while having the courage to also cut what doesn't. That's really how you are able to step into a scaling season with confidence, with peace, with profitability, and not be always like trying to put out fire and wondering what's happening. Ask yourself which data actually which that do I need to understand to make this decision. And I've made an episode where I share with you the most important metric that you need to look at when it comes to scaling your campaign. So I advise you to go and watch that episode or listen to that episode, right? And so I want to wrap this up with 3 key takeaways. The first one is that more ad spend doesn't automatically mean more result. Absolutely not. Without a clear ad strategy, a proven ad strategy, you are just going to end up wasting money and blaming the platform, which is not a fun place to find yourself in. The second one is that regular account audit are crucial. You might be sitting on hidden radar and you might be losing tons of money on things that have proven by data that are not really working anymore. So make sure that you have the courage and that you have the consistency to look at your number to see what's working, what could be working better, and what should be turned off immediately. The third thing that if you don't have the capacity, just ask your marketing team to report you those numbers so you can actually assist them and help them hold them accountable in taking those decisions. And the third thing is that scaling down is sometimes the best way to scale up. Sometimes slowing down is required to speed up. And I see so many business owners thinking that, oh my God, if I scale my ad spend, it's a signal that it's a sign that I'm actually doing worse with my marketing. It's not the case. It can be a powerful strategic move if done properly. So sometimes you need to slow down to speed up. So here's your action item for the week. Take a hard look at your ad account, right? Whether that's on YouTube, on Google, or on Facebook. I want you to pull out the numbers, look at them very closely. If you don't have a clear understanding of what you need to look at, and if you're working with an agency, ask them. If you don't have any support, feel free to reach out. But I really want you to understand. List out every campaign that's running right now and mark anything that's less than 1.5x ROI, because 1.5x ROI is the bare minimum, right? It means that, okay, I'm spending $1 on ads and I'm making $1.5 on the back end. Now, if you remove that's so it's like, okay, I've spent this and I'm making this. Now, if you remove all of your fulfillment costs and your salary and everything that you have to account for, you might be even losing money, right? So you're not profiting if you're only making 1.5x on your ads. So at least you want to be making 2x ROI, because at that point you are probably breaking even. So list out all of your campaigns that are currently running now and find out the ROI for each of them, right? What's your monthly spend? What's the ROI? How long have you been in that situation? But also, if the ROI is less than 1.5x, I want you to have the courage to turn them off, or to actually understand how can we do this better? Have they been profitable in the past? If the answer is yes, okay, great. How can we turn things around? If they've never been profitable and you are stuck at 1.5x, just turn them off, launch new ones with creative, new audience pocket, and also maybe look at your messaging. Maybe you need to optimize your messaging or even your funnel. Again, there's no one size fit all when it comes to optimizing your marketing, because it really depends scenario by scenario what you're currently facing, right? So, but doing this exercise is going to show you, give you more clarity and more, just, I think clarity is power, right? More clarity, more confidence around what to do better next time. So that's your first step to really, and doing this will also is also your first step to wasting stop wasting your money. And so if you are ready to level up your marketing strategy, your ad strategy, and looking for someone to help you do that, make sure to reach out to me on all platform, LinkedIn and Instagram, where I'm the most active at Jolie de Mathieu. And if you actually want to download our guide that actually shows you how to structure your ad campaign for the best result, we have a freebie below the video. If you got value from this video, make sure to the episode, subscribe if you're not already subscribed, and leave us a review. It means the world to me whenever I see those 5-star review coming in. So make sure, if you got value from this one, share this with someone that might help. Leave us a review. It will absolutely make my day. And make sure to join us for the next episode, where we're going to talk about Meta 2025 ads restriction that are costing you a fortune if you're not aware of them. This is one that you don't want to miss whatsoever, because it could save you more money, even more money for your business, and also some serious headache in the coming years. So I will see you on the next episode. Thank you so much for being here, and take care of yourself. This is Jolie Mathieu signing off. Until next time, keep testing, keep scaling, and never stop learning. Bye bye.